What is in there? What's in there? What's in there, Mommy? Get it out. Go on, you've got it. Has he got it out of the wrapping yet?
He's trying to.
Go on, Rolly. You can do it.
He's trying to put his paw on the package.
Rolly,
He's done it. He's done it.
Yay!
It squeaks.
It's a present from under the tree.
Yay!
Well done.
Well done. Hello everybody and welcome back to Inside Number 23, my channel which is all about sewing and knitting and generally living the craftiest life possible. My name is Katie and you can find me on all of the social medias as Miss Lavelli, and you can also find a Ravelry group for the podcast. In the groups tab on Ravelry, just search Inside Number 23 and you'll come across our lovely group which is filled with lovely people. And I'm coming to you as always from Hertfordshire, which is just north of London in the UK, where I live with my lovely husband Emrys and our beautiful puppy Rolly. And I just want to say Happy New Year, guys. It's 2017, if you can believe it. The whole of Christmas and New Year went by in a bit of a flash, to be perfectly honest. I'm a little bit overwhelmed that we're in 2017 now. It all feels a little bit strange and exciting. I'm excited about the year ahead and all of the possibilities that it brings. But yeah, I hope you all had a wonderful festive season and enjoyed New Year. We spent Christmas with family and New Year's with friends, and in general it was just a really lovely time, so I hope you enjoyed it just as much as we all did. Before we get started, the elephant in the room, yes, I had a haircut. I wanted a change for 2017, and a part of me, I think, just wants to be like Queenie from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So that's kind of the style that seems to be coming out at the moment. But yes, it's a lot shorter. It's been a while since I've had this kind of haircut, several years since it's been this short, but I'm enjoying it thus far. But just talk about it right off the bat because obviously it's the first thing that you guys notice if there's a big change like that. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's kind of a yay, Happy New Year, and also slightly a roundup of everything that we got up to last year. Hopefully I will be back to kind of regular, normal podcasting within the next couple of episodes or so. But yes, again, this week is going to be a little bit different and a little bit all over the place. And I do have an awful lot of stuff to share with you this week. First thing I wanted to talk about is cowls, knit-alongs, for those of you who may not speak the lingo. I have 2 cowls currently running, which I'm so excited about, going from nothing to 2 cowls, which I'm hosting myself. First up is the Andy Sat-along, which started on January 1st and is running for several months. The idea is to knit an Andy Satterland garment of some kind. We already have a chatter thread open in the Ravelry group. So many people are getting involved and getting excited, and I am just so thrilled, you guys, that so many of you want to get involved with this. So thank you so much. I've actually been quite active in my Ravelry group recently. I'm very proud. It's a bit of a New Year's resolution for me to make sure that I'm staying in contact with you guys. So it's just a really lovely place to head over to. So definitely do that if you want to get inspired. I myself am not sure which of Andy's patterns I'm going to be casting on. I haven't started anything just yet, and part of that is because I think that when we're in New York, where we're heading to this Sunday, if you can believe that. I am utterly overwhelmed that this has come up so fast, but I will be in New York for Vogue Knitting Live, and I'm hoping to pick up some yarn, some special Vogue Knitting Live yarn for my Andy Satterland project. So that's why I'm kind of holding off just yet, but lots of people have got started already, so do head over to the Ravelry group to check all of those out. The other cowl that I'm currently running is the Harry Potter cowl for 2017, and yes, it is a year-long knit-along all to do with Harry Potter, a special celebration of the fact that about a year ago was the first time that I did my first ever cowl on this channel, and we've been going for around about a year now, so I thought a year-long knit-along would be a pretty exciting and fun thing to be getting on with. But I do have a video all about that cowl. I will put the link down below in my show notes, so do please go and check that out. And again, we have a chatter thread on Ravelry, which is just buzzing with excitement about the cowl, so do please get involved with both of those. So excited. So administrative stuff aside, let's get started with some actual knitting and sewing and all of that kind of goodness. I wanted to start off by doing a relatively brief roundup of everything that I managed to do last year in 2016. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail in terms of all of the different projects because I have covered them all in their own separate episodes and I have lots of other bits to talk about, but I thought it would be fun just to kind of look back and see the kind of total amount of projects that I managed to produce last year. I did set myself a goal at the beginning of 2006, a resolution if you will, and more on kind of resolutions and that type of thing a little bit later in this episode, but I wanted to make sure that I knitted one pair of socks a month, so a total of at least 12 pairs of socks, and also one larger project a month, be that sewing or knitting. And I'm happy to say that I managed to follow through on that. I wasn't sure that I would be, but when I was kind of totting up the total amount of things that I managed to create in 2016, I was quite surprised. In terms of knitting, let's start with that. I knit 12 pairs of socks for myself. Yes, you guys, I managed to complete the box of socks cowl that Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast and Voolenvine yarn was hosting. I did manage to finish 12 pairs of socks for my box of socks. I actually have them here. I wanted just to show you them in their box because they look so cute. Here's my box of socks. It's bigger than my head. just so thrilled. So thrilled that I managed to get 12 pairs of socks knitted for myself this year, as that was for the box of socks cowl, but also a personal kind of resolution from last year. In addition to those socks, I also knitted 2 pairs of socks for Emrys, so a total of 14 pairs altogether, which I think is pretty good going considering that before last year I had never knit a pair of socks. In terms of other projects, I also completed 4 different sweaters or cardigans. That includes my first ever Andy Satterland pattern, so my Chuck sweater, my Weasley jumper, this Featherweight cardigan, and my Jennifer Wood Sophie cardigan that I knit for my birthday. I do have 2 different sweaters that I didn't manage to finish last year that are still in progress, but I think that's a pretty good going in terms of garments. I also knit up 6 different shawls. It was definitely the year of the shawl last year, as again, I have never knit a shawl previously. That was exciting. And also 1 hat. A hat that I've actually been wearing really quite a lot. So I do think that knitted hats, although that was never something that I was really interested in knitting before, I think I'm definitely going to be knitting more in the future because the joy of wearing a hand knitted hat really is just incredible. I loved it. In terms of sewing projects, I managed to get a lot of sewing done this year as well, even though I felt that several months went by when I wasn't really doing anything. I sewed up a total of 5 skirts, 6 dresses and 2 shirts this year, and that to me just is really ridiculous. That's 13 different individual items that I sewed up, so that's more than 1 a month. And yeah, I basically blew my initial kind of gauge as to how much I would create last year out of the water, because that's a lot of sewing and knitting, and I'm really proud of it. I do think that I was getting too hard on myself in terms of the amount of things that I was creating, and when you take a step back and you look at how much you've actually achieved, I'm really happy with that, and I'm very excited about just continuing in the same vein this year, and hopefully, fingers crossed, getting that little step closer to having a completely handmade wardrobe, which is ultimately the goal. I've seen that a lot of people have been talking about their personal favourites of 2016 in terms of favourite yarns, favourite patterns, favourite everything, and I didn't really want to go into too much detail as to favourites of 2016, because to be perfectly honest, the ultimate favourite has been being a part of this community. Just joining the podcast community, being welcomed so much by all of you guys has just meant the entire world to me, and it's changed my life. Honestly and truly, you've changed my life, and I'm so thankful for that. So in terms of 2016, I know that it's been a bit of a bum year in a lot of ways. It's been incredibly difficult for so many people on a world scale. I do feel incredibly lucky that on a personal level, I have really found something that I think is just what I want to do with my life. This is what I want to do, and thank you for giving me that realization and supporting me in that. It means everything. But all the schmaltzy stuff aside, I do have two favourites in terms of projects that I've worked on this year for a couple of different reasons. And as you may have guessed, I'm wearing both of them. So in terms of sewing, it was really a bit of a no-brainer in terms of what my favourite project would be. It is my Robe Bleuet dress. This is a Deer and Doe pattern that I have sewn up twice this year. I've made this version and also a Halloween version that I took away with me to Florida and wore to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. This dress I will continue making indefinitely. I already have another one planned in the works. It's really become more of a uniform for me, and that's something that I've really wanted to try and do this year, is find the clothes that work for me all the time, not just special occasion outfits, and this dress really represents that. You know, I've gone on and on and on and on and on and on about this pattern in previous episodes. You know how much I love it. It's genuinely one of my most favourite projects that I've ever made, and yeah, Robe Bleuet dress, and particularly this version, which is my Foxy Lady version, which is the Fox in Foxgloves fabric. I adore it. In terms of favourite knitted projects, it was hard because I've knit up some really beautiful things this year, be it different sock patterns with beautiful hand-dyed yarns and a really big selection of sweaters and shawls, all of which are just gorgeous and I adore them. But this is my Featherweight cardigan. It's a pattern by Hannah Fettig, and it just means everything to me, mostly because it got me back into garment knitting, which I really needed. I needed that little push back into making things that I could wear on a day-to-day basis, and this really is one of those projects. It's beautiful, it's soft, it's warm, it's comforting, it's incredibly easy just to throw on over almost any kind of outfit, that's the word. But also it is made with Voolenvine yarns, and Kristen, who I now consider as a friend, was a huge inspiration for me when I started this podcast, and wearing something that's made with her yarn that was dyed for me. And she also has a matching one, so that makes us twinsies, so you know, big thumbs up for that. But it just means everything to me. It's very sentimental, and I care about this garment genuinely, probably more than any other knitted garment that I've made this year, just because of that. Plus it's so soft and snuggly, and it's just beautiful. I love it so much. So definitely this would be my favourite two items of 2016, and I really love them as a combination as well. I think they go great together, so it just makes me very happy to wear both of them. So yeah, you guys, that's my kind of roundup of last year, and I'm really happy with the fact that I managed to get all of those things done. But I think it's about time that we kind of look to the future, to 2017, and we're starting it in a really good place, because I have quite a few projects which are off the needles that I'm going to share with you. So we're moving swiftly into what's on my needles, yay! Here we go, a section that we actually recognise as opposed to just being a bit of a random episode, so yay for that. So like I said, I have quite a few finished objects to share with you this week, which is really quite exciting. The first of them was finished back in 2016 within the last couple of days. I believe I actually finished these on New Year's Eve, just in time to get in for the box of socks Cal, and that is my Mercury socks. These are my Toffee Apple socks that I knit using the Mercury sock pattern by Kim Drota, and everybody's been going nuts about this pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is just beautiful. I adore it. This yarn that I used is actually Norah George yarn, Tracy of Norah George is an incredibly talented dyer. I absolutely adore her yarns, and she sent me this sock set. This is called the Toffee Apple Sock set, and it has this lovely speckled kind of natural looking main colour with this beautiful green as the contrast, which I used for the heels, cuffs and toes. And my goodness, you guys, I adore these socks. I genuinely feel that these might be my favourite socks of 2016. They are just stunning. I love them, I love them, I love them, and they're even more special to me because the yarn was dyed by lovely Tracy, whom I adore and think is incredibly talented. But yes, this was my last finished object of 2016, and I genuinely couldn't be happier with them. I think that they're beautiful and I cannot wait to wear them. I've been specifically not wearing them because I wanted them to look lovely for the podcast today, but now that they're done, I think probably I'm going to be wearing them within the next couple of days, and I definitely think that these are going to be coming with me to New York to be worn around and keep me lovely and cozy. But I don't think I could speak more highly of the yarn or the pattern. This was just one of those incredible moments when it was everything worked together perfectly to make just the most incredible project. I have another finished object to share with you this week, and this one's pretty interesting because I've never actually shared this in progress on the podcast before. I talked about it briefly in my Christmas special episode, and by the way, thank you for all of the lovely feedback that you guys gave to my little Christmas special episode that I uploaded. I definitely think we're going to make that a yearly occurrence because it was incredibly fun to do and got me really into the festive frame of mind. But these are my Christmas Eve cast-on socks, and yes, I have already finished them. I finished them on New Year's Day, on the 1st of January, which I think is pretty impressive, but I must admit that during the Christmas period, I pretty much knitted these monogamously just because I enjoyed them so much. I used the same pattern that I used for my Toffee Apple Socks. It was the Mercury Socks pattern by Kim Droter because I had so enjoyed using it with that yarn. I just thought that would be the perfect thing for my Christmas Eve cast on. And the yarn that I used was sent to me by Marilyn of the Purple Laines yarn dyeing company, and I love these socks so much, you guys. They are finished already. I'm so excited to share them with you. Look at these socks. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to show you them one at a time. This, again, like I said, is the same pattern that I used for my Toffee Apple Socks, the Mercury Socks pattern, but I did knit the leg longer than I knit my Toffee Apple Socks. I wanted these to be a little bit more warm and cozy and long, and they really, really are. I mean, just look at these colours. This colourway is called Sauvage, and you can really see in the bottom of the foot here all of these beautiful kind of jewel tones, russet reds and emerald greens, but also with this really natural colour in the background. And what's lovely about this yarn blend is that there is a little bit of stellina in it, but it's very, very subtle. So these kind of have this beautiful rustic kind of vintage look, which just goes so well with my personal style. I absolutely adore these, and they completely flew off my needles. I knit them exactly to the pattern. I find that when it comes to the Mercury socks, I do the 60 stitch version of them, and they fit like an absolute dream. So this is the second time, like I said, that I've done them. Both of them fit beautifully. The only change that I made was adding an additional couple of repeats of the lace pattern before I went into the heel, but other than that, they are exactly per the pattern. The exciting thing about these socks is that I knit these 2 at a time, which is why they have flown off the needles so fast. If I was knitting these separately, I doubt that I would have finished them by now, and I am just so thrilled. Firstly, that I have this beautiful pair of socks which are all ready for me to take to New York and keep me lovely and toasty and warm, but also that I was able to knit a patterned textured sock 2 at a time, because that's never something that I thought I would be able to do. So that's something that 2016 has taught me, isn't it? That I can do these things. But yes, I love the yarn, love the pattern. I already have another pair of Mercury socks in the back of my brain that I'm wanting to get onto the needles soon. I might take a little break just so that I don't completely exhaust my love for the pattern, because that can be quite dangerous. But Oh, these are so gorgeous. And this yarn, you guys, oh, Purple Laines, Marie Lynn, you are an incredible dyer. I can't wait to use the other skein of yarn that you sent me, but this is just so special and I really, really love it. It really is just the perfect pair of Christmassy socks, being Christmassy enough but not completely in your face. And I can't wait to wear them. I'm pretty sure I'm going to wear them to death, so yay! If you can believe it, you guys, I actually have one more finished object to share with you. I know, sometimes it's good to have a little break between podcast episodes because obviously I end up getting a lot more stuff done. But this was something that I was really, really hoping that I'd get off my needles soon because I wanted to wear them while the weather is still cold and I want to take them with me to New York. And that is my August mittens! They're finished! Look at these, you guys. I am so happy with them. So they are these beautiful cabled mittens. On the other side, there's this gorgeous textured pattern, and I now have 2 of them. I am so thrilled with these mittens. Genuinely, this is probably one of my favourite projects that I've ever worked on. The yarn is, as I've said many, many times before, is Knit by Numbers by John Arbon. It's the 4-ply weight and it is in the shade, I believe, 74. It's one of the darkest red colours that they do. I put the thumb into the right one last night and now they are completely done. All ends sewn in. I haven't blocked them because, to be honest, they don't need blocking. They fit like a dream without any blocking whatsoever. And I am so happy to have these. They're just, I wish I had managed to finish them a little bit sooner so I could have worn them more, but luckily here in the UK it does tend to stay cold for quite a long time. It probably won't warm up till about March, April time, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to get a lot of wear out of these. But this pattern is just a dream. I mean, if you are a fan of cables but don't want to be working on something really, really huge, this pattern is just beautiful. And this yarn is gorgeous. So the Knit by Numbers is 100% merino and it's so soft and just so snuggly and warm. I actually wore these for the first time this morning when we were taking Rolly on his morning walk, and genuinely my hands have never been so toasty warm. So these will definitely be coming with me to New York so that I can wear them around Central Park and all of this good stuff. I'm very, very excited. And hopefully this evening I'm going to cast on the matching hat that I talked about making to kind of match these. It's not a pattern that comes with it, it's just a pattern that I thought worked really, really nicely with it. I'm going to insert the name of it here because I've completely forgotten what it is. I've purchased the exact same yarn for it. So again, the Knit Picks. So again, the John Arbon Knit by Numbers, but this time in the DK weight. And I think it will knit up relatively quickly. I do still have time. It's Tuesday and we don't leave for New York until Sunday. So I do have time to get a hat off the needles if I get a wiggle on. And that would just be really lovely if I had a complete matching set to wear while I'm there. But yes, I'm so happy with these. I'm particularly happy that a lot of these small projects that I had on the needles are now all done. So I'm cleared the decks ready for 2017 knitting, which is what we're going to be moving on to now, because yes, you guys, I have already cast on a new project for 2017. I know, it's kind of crazy, but there are a couple of different reasons why I cast this on. Firstly, I wanted to have some knitting ready to take with me on the plane for our journey to New York because I knew that I'd want to have something to knit on quite easily. Secondly, I wanted to kickstart my year with a project for the Harry Potter knit along because I do intend to have at least 12 Harry Potter themed projects this year, you guys, as a part of the CAL. And I've been thinking for quite a long time as to what those projects would be. A lot of them are knitting from stash because I have a beautiful selection of yarns that I haven't worked with for quite some time. You know, they've just been kind of languishing. So for my first project, I wanted to use a yarn that has been in the stash for quite some time. I actually received this towards the beginning of 2016 as a prize. I won an Instagram competition with Baron Vuller. And I was sent a skein of Vicky's beautiful yarn in her barefoot sock base. And it is called Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And this is the cake. Look at this yarn, you guys. So it does have a very natural base. It's almost kind of a grey-white base, but all of the colours on top of that are pops of beautiful neon. So there is hot pink, lime green, neon yellow. It is incredible. And this has been languishing in my stash for quite some time without a proper project to be linked to it. And I just knew that for my Harry Potter Cal, this had to be one of the first skeins of yarn that was set free from the stash to become a beautiful project. So surprise, surprise, it is going to be a pair of socks. In true tradition of all Harry Potter knitting, I decided that the first project that I wanted to work on for the Cal was a pair of Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luda. This is a pattern that is free on Ravelry, and it has been doing the rounds in the podcasting and knitting community in general for a very long time. It's a very popular pattern, and I have started to cast on my first little sock. Here she is. Look at this. Isn't this incredible? So I've only done 2 repeats of the textured pattern here, but I've already done all of my rib, and these will be 2 at a time socks. I kind of cheated because what I've been doing with my 2 at a time socks is that depending on which way I'm starting, either with the toe or the cuff, I will cast on both the cuffs or both the toes separately, and then I will join them up before I start doing the pattern. However, this morning when I cast these on and finished doing my 20 rounds of 1x1 twisted rib, which is my rib of choice, I was watching the newest Legacy Knits podcast episode, and I really didn't want to cast on more twisted rib. I wanted to get into the pattern, so I allowed myself to do a couple of repeats of the actual kind of textured pattern of the Hermione's Everyday Sock, but now I have stopped, and the next time I pick these up it will be to cast on the second cuff. I don't want to work on these too much before I go to New York, because I want to be able to knit on the leg of these socks whilst I'm on the plane, because I just think that will be really lovely and relaxing. I might also cast on a pair of vanilla socks for the flight as well, just so that I have those ready to go. I haven't quite decided yet, but I'm really, really happy with how these are turning out so far, and just the quality of this yarn. I don't know if you've ever worked with Wolle yarn before, but if you have, you'll understand what I mean. This is technically a 4-ply sock yarn, but it's just got this lovely weight to it. I would say it's probably between a sport weight and a fingering weight yarn. It has a bounce to it and a thickness to it that is just so gorgeous and squishy. And I've never knit with an entire skein of Wolle before. I have had a mini skein that I believe Nessa from the Kiltercraft podcast sent me a while ago, and we did a mini skein swap, and I remember just adoring the weight of the yarn then when I was using it, and it's just reminded me again how happy this yarn makes me. I definitely think that I will be purchasing more Wolle yarn in the future, and I can't wait to work on these on my flight. It's just going to be so fun. But yes, this is my first project for the Harry Potter Knit Along. I'm really, really excited about it, if you couldn't tell, and it will also be my first pair of socks for 2017 Box of Socks Cal, because you can bet your life I'm going to be taking part in that again. So yay for socks, loads and loads of socks, and particularly when they are made with incredible yarn with a fantastic pattern, and they just bring everyone so much joy. So in a little bit, I'm going to be talking about some of the bits and pieces that I received for Christmas, as I do like to share the Christmas haul on the podcast. But before we get on to that, I did want to talk about a little bit of Owl Post. Owl Post that came my way just before Christmas and literally made the festive season even more festive with just how beautiful it was. Not so long ago, lovely Cindy of Mon Sheep Shop got in touch with me and asked to send me some of her yarn, and I of course said yes. She is an incredible dyer. I'm going to pop all of her details down below, so do please go and check her out. Specifically, she said that she had dyed up a pumpkin spice latte themed yarn, which I was so excited about, and she wanted to send me a skein. But she was very, very naughty and ended up sending me some other lovely goodies as well. In the parcel there are all kinds of lovely little bits and pieces, some notebooks and some treats in there, but I wanted to share with you the yarn that came, because you guys, this yarn is utterly beautiful. So first of all, Cindy, thank you so much, and you completely overwhelmed me with what you sent. Now, the thing that I would say, the yarn that was sent doesn't specifically have names on it, so I'm not entirely sure which colourway is which, but I have a pretty good idea of what the first one is. I believe that this one is the pumpkin spice latte colourway. So this is the one that specifically Cindy wanted to send, and you guys, I am completely and utterly in love. So if you can see here, this is a stellina base. Again, I don't have specifics as to the base on this, but I would assume it's a mixture of superwash merino, nylon and stellina. And it's all these beautiful natural colours, but with orange and a little bit of speckled brown in there, and it is gorgeous. This is her label. So there you can see Mon Sheep Shop. Lovely hand-dyed yarn, and my goodness, yes, it is lovely. And look at the little sheep. How adorable is this? And you guys, this is everything I could want and more. If you're a long-term viewer of the podcast, you'll know that I'm obsessed with all things pumpkin spice related, pumpkin spice lattes in particular. I still miss them. Oh my goodness, it's so many months before they're coming back. But I love this yarn. I just think it is beautiful. And one of the other little bits of joy that was inside my parcel was some natural yarn, which has also got stellina in it. I don't know if you can see that, but it does have little flecks of stellina. How amazing will these two look together? I think this yarn with contrast heels and toes and possibly cuffs in this colour, it's just going to be amazing. I'm so excited about this. Plus, because of the pumpkin related nature of this, I'm pretty sure that I can use this for my Harry Potter cowl because, you know, pumpkin juice, pumpkin pasties, pumpkins are a huge part of the Harry Potter universe. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I love pumpkins so much. Who knows? But this is definitely going to be a pair of socks, and very, very soon, and I am so excited about it. She sent me another 2 skeins of yarn. These, I don't really know what the colourway names are or anything, but both of them are just stunning. One or other of these, I believe, is going to end up as a prize for the Harry Potter cowl. I'm drawing prizes at the end of each month for the Harry Potter cowl, so lots of lovely people have been getting in touch to donate prizes, so thank you so much if that is you. I appreciate it so much, but I think that one of these is probably going to end up as a prize, and the other one I shall be keeping for myself. But these are the other 2 skeins of yarn that Cindy sent me. The first is most definitely a self-striping, which is just gorgeous. There's a combination of different colours in here. Purple, burgundy, navy blue, and also a gold. Look at these colours. This would just make the most glorious pair of socks. I'm very, very enamoured of this one. The second one is slightly more subtle, but still incredibly beautiful. And it's this kind of tonal brown colour, but it goes all the way almost to like a really dark chocolate brown, almost black. And as you can see here very clearly on the camera, it is just full to the brim of stellina, which shines up even more than it would do normally because it's on such a dark colour. I just think it's really magical how it looks. And I'm not the type of person who is usually drawn to kind of very brown colours. It's not something that I would automatically kind of gravitate towards. But the second that this came out of the parcel that Cindy sent, I just gasped because it is beautiful. So yeah, guys, I have been an incredibly lucky individual with 3 skeins of this glorious yarn from Mon Sheep Shop. Please go and check out her website. It is monsheepshop.fr. And also check her out on Instagram. Like I said, I'll put all of her details down below. Just go and show her some love because she's incredible. And Cindy, thank you so, so much again for getting in touch and sending me such beautiful things. I appreciate it so much. Okay guys, I hope you're ready for the next segment because it's going to be pretty hefty. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is my Christmas haul. A lot of my Christmas presents this year were kind of themed, shall we say. The two big themes that were kind of prevalent through the majority of my gifts were yarn or Harry Potter, which to be honest is the way that I'm very happy to live my life. So that left me feeling quite thrilled, but I managed to get an awful lot of Harry Potter goodies, so I'm going to start off with those. First and foremost, this mug. Emrys gave me a huge selection of Harry Potter bits and pieces for Christmas, but when we went to the Warner Brothers studio tour back in December, we went to the gift shop and picked up a couple of bits and pieces. The thing that I'd really had my heart set on was this mug. This mug is the Marauders map mug, if you can see that. And it is huge. It's designed to look pretty much exactly like the Marauders map from the film. You can see on the back there it says, "I solemnly swear that I am up to no good," and it has the Marauders map symbol on the front. They were completely out of stock of this mug when we went to the studio tour. The only one that they actually had in the shop was in the window display, and I was very tempted to ask them to get it out for me, but I didn't want to be difficult. But surprise, surprise, Emrys managed to track me down the Marauders map mug, and of all my Christmas presents, this has definitely got the most use because I am drinking tea in this mug every single day, at least once, if not twice, and I absolutely love it. Emrys also treated me to some more Harry Potter scarves. If you watch my vlogs, you'll know that I have been wearing a Gryffindor scarf for quite some time, but I'm not actually a Gryffindor, I'm a Hufflepuff, and incredibly proud of that. So Emrys bought me the Hufflepuff scarf from the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which I really, really love. In addition to this scarf, he also surprised me with something that I have been thinking about buying, but just never got round to it, and that is the Newt Scamander scarf from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This scarf is actually really different from the other Harry Potter scarves that I have because these are quite thick, they're very long. This is very, very skinny. As you can see, it's a lot skinnier than all of the other Harry Potter scarves. The stripes are obviously considerably fatter. It also has Newt Scamander's little logo in leather at the bottom, and it's just lovely. It's really soft and delicate. It's quite a bit shorter than the other Harry Potter scarves that I have as well. And it's just a really nice thing to add to my Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts collection, and I'm really happy to have it. Why not just put it on? I'm gonna get so hot, but I don't even care. I also got some Harry Potter pops and Fantastic Beasts pops to add to my pop figure collection. My mum got me Harry Potter, so I finally have my little Harry with his little wand, his little lightning scar. Very, very happy with him. Emrys actually surprised me with a Newt Scamander pop. Again, I'm obsessed with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, you guys. I adored that film. It's definitely my favourite film of 2016. So I have my little Newt Scamander, but he also came with a little Picket. So you'll know Picket if you've seen the film. He is a little bowtruckle and he's adorable. And he's so much smaller than Newt. If you can see them next to each other, they're adorable. Also, just after Christmas, Emrys surprised me with an additional present that didn't actually arrive in time for Christmas. And this really does hold a particular special place in my heart because it is the Ron Weasley pop. But if you can see, he is wearing a Weasley jumper. And this is basically the jumper that I used for inspiration for my own Weasley jumper. So he is incredibly special and a very, very welcome addition to my little pop family. So yay, Ron. I'm going to take this off now because I'm getting flushed. Moving on from Harry Potter, I know that it's not all of your bag, so let's go on to something that I know will interest all of you, and that is yarn. I was incredibly lucky this year to receive some beautiful yarn from various members of my family, and I'm going to start off with another little gift that I received from Emrys's parents. Now, they very kindly asked me exactly what I would like for Christmas, and I sent them in the direction of yarn, obviously. And some yarn that I've always wanted to try, but I've never got round to it because even though it's produced quite close to home. It's not very readily available in the UK, and that is hedgehog fibres. I've been dying to try hedgehog fibres for quite some time. I managed to get 2 skeins of the Malice colourway, which is just, it's just incredible. Now, the one thing that I would say is that these skeins do suffer from kind of slightly indie dyer syndrome, which is these are both the same colourway, but if you can see, this one is really, really quite dark and intense, which I love. The second skein, which I just dropped on the floor, is considerably brighter, which is absolutely fine. I had intended to use these 2 skeins. You can really see when they're next to each other that they're sisters but not twins, shall we say. But I was intending to use these for the thigh-high brioche topped socks, which I know that, again, Nessa of the Kilter Craft podcast has cast on recently. It's a beautiful pattern, and I had wanted to use this yarn for those socks. However, I think that the contrast of them is just too much to be able to make that pair of socks with them. I think it would irritate me, to be perfectly honest. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is separate them and use them for separate projects. But moving on to some other yarny goodness, Emrys specifically asked if I wanted anything for Christmas, and I pointed him in the direction of one of my all-time favourite yarn dyers and lovely ladies in general, and that is Tracy of Norah George Yarn. I told him a couple of her colourways that I particularly liked, and I said, you can pick any one of these, get in touch with Tracy, and, you know, she will hopefully be able to sort you out and get something dyed up for you. And she is incredibly accommodating, and she managed to do that in time for Christmas. So thank you, Tracy, for just being incredible at what you do. But of all of the different colourways that I kind of suggested, Emrys picked one that I was so thrilled that he went to, because I think out of all of them, this was my favourite. And he bought me Moaning Myrtle. So this is one of Tracy's Harry Potter colourways. She does an incredible selection of Harry Potter colourways, and I want all of them. But this main colour here, the main skein of yarn, is Moaning Myrtle, which basically is half natural with speckles and half this beautiful grey colour. And you'll know already that I'm a big fan of Tracy's natural but speckled yarns, because hello! So I was really, really happy to receive these. He also managed to get a sock set, which is really exciting, which comes with this lovely contrasting purple for heels, cuffs and toes, and I am so excited to work on these. These will definitely be a part of the Harry Potter cal, the Harry Potter themed yarn, so they work perfectly. And this is a blend of superwash merino and nylon, and I'm so excited to have another pair of socks using Tracy's beautiful yarn in my stash. I just have to prevent myself from buying absolutely every colourway of Harry Potter yarn that she dyes, because it's becoming a real issue. You just do too much beautiful stuff, Tracy. I'm sorry, but you're too good at what you do. But as always, if you want something similar, head over to her Instagram and check up when she's next doing an update, because you'll fall in love with everything, honestly. But yes, this was a real treat. The last thing that I'm going to share with you in terms of the Christmas haul, I know it's going on a little while, you guys, I appreciate that. This was a present from my lovely mum and dad. My mum and I went to watch the Red Shoes at the Sadler's Wells Ballet in Vlogmas, so you may have seen that. And before we went, we actually popped into Loop in London, and my mum asked if there was anything that I really, really wanted as a Christmas gift. She knows that I'm a bit of a yarn obsessive, so it seemed like the perfect opportunity to pick up a last minute Christmas gift. And she outdid herself in terms of what she bought for me. This is, again, something that is definitely, most definitely going to be used for my Harry Potter cal. It couldn't not be, because it is 100% inspired by a sweater that is actually worn in Harry Potter by Hermione. And I'm going to insert a picture here so you can see this sweater and see how amazing it is. I've been a huge fan of this sweater for quite some time. I know that London House Yarns actually does as a self-striping colorway that matches this sweater almost exactly. So I feel like that may need to come and live in my stash pretty soon. But I wanted yarn so that I could knit myself a reproduction of this gorgeous sweater. I think that it's beautiful and it just needs to come and live with me. If I was in any way hesitant about trying to recreate this sweater, that was completely thrown out the window when I saw that Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast and Voolenvine Yarns is actually hosting a honey sweater cal. And this sweater to me looks almost identical to this sweater that Hermione is wearing in the movie, with a couple of little alterations in terms of the width of the stripes and that type of thing. And I was just like, this has to happen. I have to make this sweater. And so when we went to Loop, I managed to find what I think is the perfect combination of yarns to recreate this sweater. And that was gifted to me. So without further ado, let me show you what I have received. I have the biggest bag of yarn on my lap right now, you guys. So if you can hear rustling, that's what it is, but it's very exciting. So for the main colour of the sweater, I know that the honey sweater is actually knit in Quince & Co. Finch. So I went for Quince & Co. Finch for the main colour of the sweater, so the grey background colour. And the colour that we went for is called Iceland. And it's this beautiful kind of pale grey. And I think that this is actually a lighter toned grey than the grey that is used in the sweater in the film. But I found that this colour actually complements the striping colours that I picked out a lot more than some of the darker tones of the Finch that I was looking at. They had about 3 or 4 different tones of grey that I tried out next to the colours that I picked for the contrast stripes, and this grey just was perfect. Plus I think it just matches my colouring a little bit better. A lot of the other colours just didn't really suit me and looked more kind of school jumper grey, which is fine. I'm totally into the kind of school uniform chic, but this just was more my thing. So this is the main colour that I used, and I got quite a lot of skeins of it. I think that there are 6 skeins in total. So yeah, a lot of yarn. In terms of all of the individual stripes that go through the sweater, I didn't want to get too much yarn because I didn't think that they would actually require a huge amount of yardage. So we looked through everything that was available at Loop, and the one thing that really drew my eye was actually the Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift yarn. So this is 100% pure Shetland wool, and it's designed for colour work. So you get a 25 gram ball each. For each little ball, it's 25 grams. And I thought this is the perfect place to start in terms of doing these stripes, because they don't have a huge amount of yardage in them, but it means that I may be able to get away with just one ball. So let me just show you the different colours that I picked out. I can't remember the order that these go in exactly, so let's just grab them and have fun with it. This first colour is this kind of russet red, and it's called Ginger. I then went for this pink colour, which is called Sorbet, which is so cute. I have a kind of minty green, it's called Apple. A sort of mid-toned blue, and this is called Luna. Very appropriate for a Harry Potter jumper, don't you think? I have a paler tone of blue. This one is called China Blue, and I really love this tone. I think it's gorgeous. I would love a sweater in this colour. I have 2 different tones of purple, a slightly paler one, which is lavender, and a much darker, richer one, and this is called Loganberry. And the final colour was a yellow tone, and this is Daffodil. And I really, really enjoy this yellow because it's yellow without being super, super bright, and bright yellow just drains me. Doesn't look good on me at all. Here they are. It's like a bouquet of yarn. I am so happy with these. Just looking at them all together brings me so much joy. And if you can see now, this is really hard to hold on to these and do all this, so apologies if I look like an idiot, but with this lighter tone, I just think it looks great, and it means that the colours pop more against it. So yeah, sweater's quantity of Finch plus a bit of Jamieson's Shetland yarn for the stripes. I'm so excited, you guys. I can't wait to cast on this sweater. I don't know if this is going to be a project that is going to happen anytime soon, just because I do have a lot of other things in the works in terms of socks and things that I want to cast on, and I also currently have 2 other sweater projects that are in progress that I really think I should at least make more progress on before I cast on something completely new. But this is definitely happening in the near future, and I'm really, really excited about it because it's been a while since I've actually knitted up something that's a full reproduction garment, and it's just something that makes me so happy. I love taking something from a film and recreating it for myself that's completely unique. So fingers crossed it will be happening really, really soon, and I can't wait. I just have one segment left for this week's podcast, you guys, and it is, of course, that old favourite, General Waffle. General Waffle. And for this week's General Waffle, I hinted towards the beginning of the episode that I've been thinking about New Year's resolutions and that type of thing. Last year I set myself quite a lot of resolutions in terms of things for the podcast, in terms of things for my making, wanting to read more, wanting to eat better. You know, I'm one of those type of people who sets myself goals for everything. If you're a long-term viewer of the podcast, you will know that I do tend to set myself ridiculous goals for things, and it gets a bit ridiculous. I do tend to put a lot of pressure on myself, shall we say. So when it came to the end of 2016, I had a really good think about exactly what I wanted 2017 to be for myself. For various reasons that I'm not going to get into in depth here just now, but hopefully I will be able to in the future. 2017 is going to be quite a big year personally for me and Emrys, hopefully to do with work and just where we are. And no, I'm not talking about having the babies yet, guys. I know you guys get really excited when you think that we're going to have babies, but that's not quite on the cards just yet. But it is going to be a big year, and because of that, I didn't want to start the year setting kind of unattainable expectations for myself. There are lots of things that I would like to achieve this year. I do want to take part in the Box of Socks cardigan, so having 12 pairs of socks this year would be amazing. I definitely want to have much more of a handmade wardrobe, and I have so many beautiful yarns and fabrics in my stash that are just dying to become garments. But something that I really wanted, rather than just setting goal after goal after goal, was to give myself an overall feeling for 2017. And something that's really inspired me is something that I know that a lot of podcasters were doing at the beginning of 2016, and I believe that a lot of them will be doing for 2017 as well, and that is having a word for the year. Now, I kind of missed out on this at the beginning of 2016. I didn't get to pick a word right at the beginning of the year, and I felt a little bit bummed. I thought, oh, I've missed that. And it just felt like that was the right thing to do for 2017. So I have selected my word for 2017 after a lot of thought. My word is breathe. And you might think that that's a bit of an unusual word to be your focus for a year, but I'm gonna kind of divulge a little bit of personal stuff about myself. That's generally what my General Waffle section tends to be, a little bit of oversharing, but I suffer from quite a lot of anxiety issues. I tend to become very anxious when I feel that I am underachieving. I'm naturally an overachiever. I am quite a competitive person with myself. I tend to set very high standards for myself and try and push and push and push. And even when I achieve those standards that I set for myself, I think I should have been able to do more. Particular examples of that were, if you were watching Vlogtober this year, I was sewing projects right until the day before we left for Florida, because I thought if I didn't have a full handmade wardrobe for our trip to Florida, that I was in some way inferior. It's something that has been happening within the last couple of days. Traveling to New York, as we're doing this weekend, has kind of crept up on me, and I have this uncontrollable urge to chain myself to my sewing machine and make at least 3 different handmade outfits to wear at Vogue Knitting Live, because if I can't achieve that, I am in some way not worthy of going and people will look at me and think badly of me. And to be perfectly honest, that's ridiculous. I knit and I sew because it brings me pleasure, and yes, the finished result is a huge part of that. I love wearing a handmade outfit. I love indulging in wearing the garments that I make, but turning it into something competitive is incredibly unhealthy for me on a personal level. And sometimes I get so worked up in that little bubble of overachieving and striving for more that I need to take a physical step back and reassess exactly what's going on. And that's where this word comes in. That's where breathe comes in, because sometimes when I feel that bubble of anxiety in my chest and I feel that I just can't do anything because I'm too wound up and I'm too stressed and I'm too scared of disappointing people and letting myself and my viewers, you guys, and my friends and my family down, that breathing is the thing that I need to do. Breathe is my word, because to me it represents more than just the physical act of inhaling and exhaling air. It really means slow down, reassess, and move forward from that moment. And that is definitely something that I want to be doing in 2017. I have a huge amount of things that I want to achieve with this channel, with the things that I'm going to be creating, with remaining committed to creating new and interesting content for you guys. But the one thing that my particular stress and anxiety causes me to do in times of extreme stress is to completely withdraw from almost anything and just do nothing. Just remain still and stagnant and hope that things will kind of work themselves out on their own, which a lot of the time just doesn't happen. So for me, my word of the year, breathe, and this new outlook for 2017 is to sometimes be able to take a step back from the pressures that I'm putting on myself, to reassess and to make a sensible plan, not a hugely pressurized plan, and not one that will cause me to go crazy, although going crazy from time to time is perfectly fine. And I'm hoping that that will allow me to have more balance, more stability, and more consistency in the way that I do things and the way that I can then share those things with you. Yeah. That's it for this week, you guys. That is everything for this episode of Inside number 23. In terms of episodes upcoming, I will hopefully, fingers crossed, be uploading an episode next week if I can get it pre-recorded and edited in time. I do hate spending time away from you guys, and I do still have a lot of other stuff that I want to share with you in terms of cheeky sale purchases that I may have made recently that I just didn't have room for in this episode. So fingers crossed, I will have an episode for you next week, but if there isn't one, bear in mind I am going to be in New York for several days, and I will be enjoying myself immensely, I hope. So again, breathing, no stress, taking it one day at a time. There may be an episode next week, there may not be. I will also be taking a lot of video during my time in New York, but there is no specific time as to when that will be uploaded. If I have incredible internet access in New York, I may be able to upload a couple of little vlogs while I'm there, but if not, I shall do a daily series of those New York daily vlogs when I get back. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year to all of you. I hope that you are all well and happy and surrounded by your loved ones and just looking forward to the year ahead. I can't wait to talk to you again soon, but for now, happy sewing, happy knitting, happy everything that brings you joying, and I'll see you really soon. Bye!
Rosie!